Welcome to the wrap-up of Week 3, which was Chapters 5 and 6. Basically, we covered security breaches in the law. We discussed the U.S. federal and state laws passed to deter information theft. We got to have laws to prosecute them. That was the purpose. Understand the cost associated without that. There's federal laws we looked at, the Computer Fraud Act and the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. We also looked at the state laws. California's a state law we looked at. We had an idea of what access control failures are and what do we have to do. People is a big part of failure, so we need to train them. We need to have them understand the importance of what access control is and that you can't be giving out your password to anyone. You shouldn't be keeping it on your monitor or any of the other things that we have seen. But password protection, and so that they don't click on the thing. We have to train the employees so that they understand the importance of what our data means and why are we trying to protect it. We looked at how technology affects it. LAN managers, whether we're using Unix or Linux, the operating system we looked at. What are security breaches? The loss of data. The system that was exploited through eavesdropping, social engineering, denial of services, indirect attacks, physical attacks. We looked at all these different areas. We looked at some of the major ones that have been up until the point of this publication. Monster.com, TJ Maxx, New York Times, and we can add on there Equifax, which is one of the biggest in history. So there was a lot going on in this chapter about the laws and how everything was going to be implemented. And we looked at Chapter 6 also, mitigating risk with access control. So what did we look here? We explained the various access types and mapped them to our business challenges. Because let's face it, we have to stay in business. We can't lock down our system so much that we can't do business. We looked at business continuity and disaster recovery. What happens if our servers go down? What happens if we're attacked, or ransomware, or something on that effect? So we need to understand, do we have a backup plan? Do we have a cold site? Do we have a warm site? Do we have a hot site that allows us to have information going on? Again, we have to weigh our costs versus reality. We can have everything in place, but at what cost does that come? So we need to be careful when we're looking at this. Your disaster recovery plan, what is it? Does it work? Have you ever attempted it? And so you need to look at your disaster recovery plan and look at how that works. Customers' access to data. In the HIPAA file, they have access to their data. Well, we have to ensure that they have access when they need it. We have to make sure that whoever has access has the right access. There's always going to be risk involved in the corporation. So we looked at the risk avoidance, risk acceptance, risk transference, and mitigation. We can't eliminate all risk. We have to stay in business. Risk is part of owning a business. How do we operate vulnerabilities from operating systems, applications, and users? These are the areas we covered. Solving business challenges, keeping the employees, so the employees only have access to where they need access to. They don't have access to the entire system. They only have it where it's needed. We looked at malware and some other items that allowed us to have information. Software as a service we looked at. So these are the things we looked at. So what did you have to do this week that you should have handed in for Week 3? Sorry about that. Week 3, we had a couple different things, the standard stuff. Your reading assignments, Chapters 5 and 6. Your 2 discussion questions, your weekly paper, quick quiz, and your journal, what you learned. So hopefully you've turned all that in by now before we get into week 4. So have a wonderful day. Remember to smile. We'll talk soon.